Thanks for checking out a new episode of Bad Advice with Chris Cubis, the show where unqualified people give unsolicited advice. I'm joined this week by comedians Christopher Hills and Andy Iwancio. Do you have a problem with your neighbors banging in the street or your family members charging you for Christmas dinner? Well, this podcast's for you. Check it out. We appreciate all the nice feedback. I know I say that every week, but I really do fucking appreciate it. People telling me on Twitter that they like the show. All that shit feels good, so I do appreciate it. I am joined this week by two hilarious comics. Austin's own Chris Hill is here. Chris, how's it going?
Oh, I'm good. I'm chilling.
How's things?
Everything's good. Everything's fine. Just been working and doing shows, and that's about it.
Goddamn life, right? It's about the best we can do.
Yeah.
For sure. Also with us this week, you can check her out on Twitch /Andy Iwancio. Andy Iwancio's here. How's it going? I hope I did that name right. How'd I do on that name?
Fine. It's Iwancio.
Okay, say it again?
It's Iwancio.
Iwancio, fuck. That was pretty close. I apologize.
Yeah.
Did that beforehand. I work... So my day job, I have to call people sometimes, and whenever the name is like, whenever it's I don't want to say, whenever it's a more uncommon name or something that might be easily fucked up, I gotta pep myself up before I make the phone call. I have to go over the name 5 times, and I'll be like, okay, it's just okay. I say it 3 or 4 times, and then I still fuck it up because I'm a American. How's things? Where are you at these days, Andy?
I'm up in Seattle.
In Seattle, how's Seattle treating you?
Oh, it's all right. It's fucking sunny and just been hanging indoors and comedy slowly starting up. Nothing too exciting, but yeah, it's been all right.
Is comedy doing are you guys strictly outdoors? You back to real indoor shows? What's going on up there?
We have a couple clubs open and then some outdoor stuff and 2 mics, but at tops it's maybe 4 or 5 shows a week. It's wild.
Word. And how was it let's say pre-pandemic? I'm assuming, I haven't been to Seattle in a minute, but it feels like it'd be more than that.
Yeah. It was much more active. But everybody's slowly doing those moves to start back up. I think by July we should be back up to speed, but
word. Well, here in Texas, no mask mandates. They've gotten to that recently. Full capacity, do whatever the fuck you want. No rules. How's it going, Chris? How do you feel about comedy in Austin? How do you feel about shows coming back? Or did you kind of stop doing shows during the pandemic? I know we had a show the other night together. That was super fun.
Yeah, that was really fun. The shows. I've been doing a couple of shows a little bit during the pandemic, but towards the end of it, or towards the end of it, once we started getting a little bit more comfortable.
Sure.
But yeah, I feel, I think coming out of it is just changed here in Austin. A lot of changes have happened, and
sure.
Another clique has come through and rampaged the city, and it's getting more headlines than we could ever get when we.
Well, the headlines are wild. I don't know that they say no. They say no such thing as bad publicity, but I feel like Tony Hinchcliffe can say otherwise. Let's go ahead and jump into something. So first off, what is your guys' familiarity level with Dear Abby?
What?
Dear Abby. Do you know what that is? I'm gonna say no based on your face.
Is that where somebody sends letters for advice or whatever?
Yeah, exactly. It's an advice column. Andy, what about you, girl? You have any history with Dear Abby?
I'm 39. I have a. Of course.
All right, now I feel better. Yeah. I would never have guessed, but now I feel better. So thank you for that. So yeah, if you don't know, it is an advice column. People write into their newspaper with wild problems. I try to pick ones that are somewhat, I don't know, not depressing, but we'll see where it goes.
Sweet.
Let's go ahead and jump into one of our letters here. Let's try this one because I think it's wild. Dear Abby, Every year, our family gathers at the home of Aunt Dottie and Uncle Joe, in quotation marks, for Christmas dinner. This includes us, our parents, aunts, uncles, cousins, and their children. Aunt Dottie and Uncle Joe used to charge only the adults. The children ate free, and the adults also brought along bottles of alcohol. Now the charge is per person, so everyone pays. Abby, we have no choice in the menu. Aunt Dottie and Uncle Joe plan the meal. If they serve something we don't like, or if we can't stay for the whole meal, don't you think we should get at least a partial refund? Shouldn't we have a say in the menu since we pay for our meals? They don't need the money, but they never offer a refund if we eat little or leave early. I think a better plan would be for all of us to meet at a restaurant for Christmas dinner so we'd have a choice. What do you think? Signed, Fed Up in New Jersey. This, to me, is wild, and I'm going to ask, you guys, when you go to family dinner, like, did you have to pay at your family's house for dinner? Is that crazy?
No,
Not at all.
no.
That's some mobbed up Jersey shit.
No, let me tell you, as somebody who's from the East Coast, grew up in New York, with some, let's say, shady characters in my certain parts of my family tree. The mob wants you to know they have money, so they won't let you pay for shit. This is okay. We like to do this on the podcast a little bit. Ethnicity of the person writing this letter. What do you think?
Oh, automatic white.
Gotta be, right?
Automatic white.
Uncle Dottie?
Yeah. Yeah, fair enough. Aunt Dottie, for sure. Okay.
Are you reading it? Is it Dottie?
I am reading it, and that's exactly how it's spelled.
Yeah, that's white.
Also, us black people, we wouldn't take that shit.
Could you imagine?
We wouldn't even handle going over to your house. And we have to take a risk on the food that you made. No.
I feel like I have to put my clout up. I'm from Baltimore, so I just want you to know this shit doesn't fly in Baltimore either.
Well, that's what I'm curious about, because like we can all agree this is white folk, but like what's weird to me, I don't think it's rich white folk, and I don't think it's poor. I think this is like real suburban. You know what I mean? Like that real, they think they're middle class, even though they're probably just sort of upper, lower class. But like, it's that mid-range family, because poor people are not going to do that. Poor people, if they're putting on a thing, like if you're going to have an event at a poor house, you're part of that event is that you've come into some money or whatever, and you're trying to share. And rich people are fucking snobby, so they want to make sure everyone knows they're rich. But like, this is like 2 cars in the driveway, but like you're paying real shitty, like you're paying real high fucking percentage on that interest. You know what I'm saying?
I would have stopped talking to my family sooner if our family events had admission. What the fuck is...
You don't want to go to your house for free. You're gonna make me. Could you imagine opening up an invite and there's a bill inside that motherfucker?
You shouldn't be charging money for food. If they're gonna do that, you should leave a negative Yelp review on their house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How many? And again, they have a whole gang of other family members. Why don't they just regroup and go to somebody else's house who's not charging?
Yeah, you got to write Aunt Dottie and Uncle Joe to fuck off at this point, because somebody else. Or I even say, if y'all want to pool your money or whatever, I understand. Like the way they describe it, it's like aunts, uncles, cousins. There's a lot of people involved, so this is a lot. Like can run up a lot of money. So right. Like if you feel like, oh hey, let me bring a dish, or let me slide.
Right.
Here's a couple bucks or whatever. Like, yeah, do it a potluck. There's so many ways around you slipping. Do you think they have like a square reader? You think they take cards? Or is it like...
I can imagine. I imagine a long fucking catering table, and they've got like shitty foil trays and shit, and just I don't know. That sounds like you're opening up a cafeteria at Christmas. It's just bullshit.
Aunt Dottie sounds like she's too old to know what a sure reader is. So yeah. of course, they're probably just gonna be like, no, cash only. We not doing no PayPal, no Venmo.
Yeah,
straight cash. They got a bowl right there. If you didn't pay for it, they'll know about it.
Mm-hmm. They got a bouncer outside the house that you got to pay a cover when you get in. Come on.
Yeah, if I like went into Aunt Dottie's house, she'd be like, "You're not from around here, are you?"
For sure. Did y'all have like did your family like for holidays always have like was it always the same house? Did you guys like rotate to different relatives? What was your Christmas like?
Yeah, we rotated in our family.
Yeah.
We had a lot of different houses that we went to on my mom's side. And it was always like, I don't think we all just brought our own food.
Word.
Right. We just went over to my grandmother's house and we do potluck.
Yeah.
Or we'd all make food together. It was the only time I ever felt like we're families when we're making fucking food together.
Hear me out. I have an idea. I think what's happening, and they're what I'm gathering is they go to that house every year, which gives me the feeling that like the Aunt Dottie and Uncle Joe would be mad if they went to a different house. You know what I mean? Like this feels like something that's really important that they have it there. I think they're making a profit on this meal. I think they have figured out a way to pay for their fucking own Christmas. I think that's why, like, you know what I'm saying? They've changed it to everybody pays per person. They don't even kids don't even eat free anymore. I feel like they figured out a way to scam Christmas out of their family.
Yeah.
You don't. No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead, Andy.
I was gonna say you don't even. That's not even some shit that happens at like restaurants or at a meal. You get to choose some part of the food.
They're buying pre-feed dinners where you got to do a tasting menu at Aunt Dottie's house. This is ridiculous.
What if somebody's allergic to peanuts and I keep saying Uncle Dottie. I'm more open-minded.
For sure. Something tells me there's not a lot of non-binary fucking relatives at Aunt Dottie's house. But that's me. That's me making assumptions.
No, that's about. I think personally that now I'm doing it.
Now we're all doing it.
Aunt Dottie and them, they got a nice house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They got a nice house.
They have to have
something that's there.
Big enough to fit all these people at least.
Yeah, big enough to fit all these people, and it's nice enough to where people are willing to risk nasty food.
Mm-hmm.
Nasty food to go in their house and pay for it. So there's something else involved.
Maybe they've got like dirt on the rest of the family. Maybe you know what I'm saying? Maybe there's some secrets that might get exposed. You don't pay your dinner. Next thing you know, you're the topic of conversation at dinner that way.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I said mobbed up. Is that like everybody's paying protection fees for the year?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah, that's what everybody's paying. Yeah, for sure. Somebody's going to come visit. Your windows might get broken if you don't come to Christmas. That is fucking hilarious. Yeah. I also love this idea that, like, but also they have such a weird dynamic in this family because, like, these people are also weird because they also expect like them to prorate the dinner if they don't eat enough. Like that's not the question. The question shouldn't be, oh, if I didn't eat the yams, I should get 10% off or whatever. The question should be, why the fuck are my family members charging me for dinner? The fact that they're willing to like, okay, we'll let that of course you gotta make your nut, but like let me wet my beak a little bit. It's very weird.
And then let's think about it. What did they do for this last Christmas? How do you do that shit over Zoom?
Yeah. Well, to be fair, I have a feeling that these are some real anti-vax. I don't know that this family is following Fauci's guidelines. That's just a feeling I'm getting. I have no reason to believe that, but I get real Trump vibes from these people. Because it just feels too money centric to be good people. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Guaranteed.
Yeah.
That it just I like I said, I argue for it. If there's Christmas carols in that house, they're all singing soprano. Is what I'm saying.
So what do we give this person as far as advice? I think the advice is stop going to Aunt Dottie and Uncle Joe's. I say undercut them. Throw a second dinner, charge less, better food, obviously you might lose a couple bucks, but I feel like you got to shift the power dynamic in this family.
Yeah, you gotta shift the power dynamic for sure.
I was thinking. Oh no, go ahead.
Oh no, that was it.
I was gonna tailgate.
Outside of their house,
in front of the house.
I love it. Yeah. You set up in the park across the street. You have picnic tables.
They're looking out the windows. You waved them. We've got barbecue enough for everybody.
Yeah. Oh, I love it. I like it. Show them up. That's a good call. Yeah. Let's go ahead and jump into our next letter. Which one do I want to go with? Some of these are weird. Let's try. Dear Abby, I've been blessed with a gorgeous 4-year-old daughter who is, even more importantly, smart, funny, and kind. But I have an issue. Every time we go anywhere or meet someone new, the person feels the need to comment on her beauty. We receive comments like, just wait till she's older. Boys will be all over her. This happens not only with older distant relatives and my in-laws, but also random people at the grocery store. I understand they are trying to play a compliment, but I find it disturbing that they are thinking about my little girl in this way. I'm tired of it, but I'm not sure what the appropriate response is when people make these comments. Signed, Protective Mama. Y'all ever stopped a family at the grocery store and told them how hot their child was? What is this world?
You would I would like, that sounds like somebody who's like stopping her and going, oh, your kid's a 9.
Yeah.
I mean, your kid's 5 years old, but he's a 9.
God damn. Oh my God.
What? Maybe what we're talking about, maybe what we're missing is what the kid is wearing.
Oh no.
This kid might be bringing it on himself or herself. I understand what you're saying. You can't be going out to Publix dressed like that.
What's up with the pigtails? Why she got the pigtails on?
Question: do we think any of this happened? You know what I'm saying? Is this something that's a real problem in this person's life, the way they're describing it, that they can't walk outside without their child being mobbed? Or is this a weird person trying to get their child a modeling contract? Like, what's the reality of this situation?
I think it's really a thing that happens. I mean, with child pageants and shit, people do say that kind of stuff, but it's weird the way she's framing it. It could have just been, I don't like when other adults comment on my child in this way. What should I say? But there's like all of this lead up and other different things where like, if it's happening multiple times. Yeah.
Also, this is the part I have, well, one of the parts I have a problem with, is that opening line where she's like, I was blessed with a gorgeous 4-year-old daughter who is, even more importantly, smart, funny, and kind. That's some shit like, that feels like something you would say to somebody on a dating app. Like, that feels like, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I know everyone thinks you're hot, but I see the real you. You shouldn't be talking about this 4-year-old like that. It's weird.
You can't know you can't know that a kid is smart, funny, or kind until like 10.
Yeah. Develop personality for sure.
Yeah, you can't know. They're really good at hiding their personalities at 4 years old too. They can act really. I work with kids that young all the time. They'll be the wildest kids that you ever see. They don't care about you, but as soon as their mom and dad come through, they're the kindest, sweetest little thing of all time. They smart. They'll do the backflips and all the shit that they're supposed to do to make the mama smile or whatever. It's hilarious to watch them do that. Mm-hmm. So I know that's not the question that she's asking, but I'm pretty sure that her daughter is also pretty just like
evil,
unbearable.
Yeah. I also like, let's assume this is real. Mm-hmm. You got to start punching some of these strangers. I'm sorry, if you have to start setting some physical boundaries around your child. If it is that much of an issue that you can't walk down this fucking street without random strangers running up to you to compliment how hot this child is, I gotta stop saying hot. That's not what I mean. But you know what I'm saying.
You ain't doing it. You just repeating it.
You gotta set up a fence. You gotta put. Here's an idea: a couple scars. Mark that kid up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? A little hot coffee. Let's take that kid down a peg.
Well, yeah, like if the kid's like Yeah, dirty the kid up a little. When I lived in Baltimore, the way that I would keep myself from being jumped was I'd make myself look like too much trouble. So I'd untie one of my shoes and then add a little limp.
yeah. You got to make it seem like it's going to be an issue. Now it's a hate crime or something because you know
right.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
I think make it look like not even like a pedophile is going to pick this kid up. Like snot all over.
Yeah. Don't wipe the snot up.
Don't brush the kid's hair. Let that kid look matted. We gotta ugly this kid up a little bit. Or we flip it. It's your responsibility to humble this kid a little bit. You got to start letting the kid know they ain't that pretty. Every once in a while, you got to be like, oh, so it looks like you put on a few pounds. You got to do something to balance out all these compliments.
You got a little bit of baby fat right there. That's some little baby fat.
Oh, you're gonna have another piece of pie? Okay.
I don't think
you want, but
I don't think you need to do anything beyond you take the kid's pants. Not you take the kid's pants. The parent take the pants of the kid and use a little bit of dye and make it look like the back of the pant legs are brown, right? Make the pants look partly brown. No, nobody's coming to pick that kid up or saying anything.
Yeah.
It just looks like the baby shit itself.
Yeah, that's it. That's the classic prison move of you can't fight, but just shit your pants every day. People will leave you alone.
People will leave you alone. Oh, that's the baby that. But then again, people will come up talking to your baby, talking about, oh no, look at that doo-doo on the booty or something like, You're gonna have to have those conversations. And be like, well, people keep coming up talking about my baby looking beautiful, so I have to ugly it up. You're like, why you do that?
Yeah.
And then you look even more ridiculous. But
that's like, and that prison thing's legit. Like, I was in lockup before a court case, and all the people in the jail cell all the people in lockup were trying to convince this old dude to fill his pants with peanut butter. so that he would jam his hands in his pants while they're trying to sentence him. And it looks like he's just eating his own shits.
Oh no.
Is it real or were they fucking with that dude? That feels like prison punked. If you can get somebody with a bunch of peanut. Also, where's he getting this peanut butter? I don't know about this.
Well, they were giving him advice. They were giving advice and telling the story about some dude who was stealing peanut butter from the kitchen a little by little, and then it came up time for like sentencing. And he had just a pants full of peanut butter. They also told this old guy, when they asked him about his sanity, to say that the president of the United States was a Snickers bar. Just say that it was just say like a Milky Way or Kit Kat.
Hey, did it work?
Filled this kid's pants with peanut butter.
But did it work? Did this old guy go to jail? That's the question.
I don't know. I was just down, like, the judge was...
Yeah.
The judge was trying to scare me, and he threw me down in lockup while I was at a trial. And then, I just heard a little bit of this. I'm curious how it worked out.
I think we can all agree, take this kid down a couple pegs. He'll be all right. Or also, you know what? Let this kid fucking be pretty. Chances are it's not going to be pretty forever, right? Like, if we're all honest, there's cute kids. A lot of them grow up. Ugly adults come from somewhere. So let this fucking kid be complimented. The world's going to kick this kid's ass soon enough.
Yeah, it'll happen. Everybody has their peak at one point in time in their good looking moments. And if you're peaking at 4, it's going to be a rough life for you,
That is very true. Because you might even really have those memories. At 4... You know what I'm saying? That's just going to be gone by the time you're 16, 17. So, like, let her enjoy her life.
I don't think
Hold on, what you saying? What, Andy?
No kid at 4 is even saying the word smart, funny, and kind.
Yeah, for sure. Also, no 4-year-old is funny. 4-year-olds don't know joke structure. They don't understand callbacks. They got nothing.
You laugh at kids. You don't laugh at them.
No, they're not funny. They might do some funny shit, but that's just because they're dumb. So, like, I'm not buying this.
Yeah, Yeah.
Let's go ahead and jump into another letter here. I got a few more.
Oh wait, but
no. What's up?
as far as like her handling the people complimenting her kids,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like she should just. I mean, like I'm pretty positive that it doesn't happen as often as she thinks it happens.
Right.
Like I'm pretty sure I just don't think that people are just out here really just like, oh, your baby gonna look so good. Ooh, it's like, and I've heard that phrase many a times. Like, your child's gonna have to knock it, like,
yeah, gonna be breaking hearts or whatever.
Stick.
Yeah.
So it's, I think that maybe she's, taking those compliments the wrong way, and just relax.
Yeah. Also, maybe try see what you can get for that kid. Hey, next time somebody comes up, oh, your child's beautiful. How beautiful?
I guess it would be. I guess at the very least, people are saying in the future your kid will be fuckable.
That's
like they're just cruising around like your kid's hot.
Yeah, you can't be doing tag and release on a child's fuckability. You can't just go like
that kid's gonna be breaking hearts 1,000 feet from a school.
Just you wait.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to our next letter. I've got a bunch of them here. Let's try this one. Dear Abby, for some time now, an adult neighbor I'll call Greta has been meeting her lovers on our street. She lives a couple blocks over, but she apparently doesn't want her teenagers to see her meeting these men. She and her dates arrive separately, then join each other in one car, and don't drive away until some deep kissing and partial disrobing have gone on. I thought Greta was a prostitute until I found out where she lived. It is embarrassing to walk out in our front yard and come upon this scene. I've been tempted to call the police several times, but my wife keeps telling me to mind my own business. She says she can never tell what Greta's story might be, so I haven't called. Recently, I heard that she had divorced her husband, and the episode seemed to stop. It hasn't been long, though, and the car hopping has started again. Greta may be protecting her own teenagers by meeting her boyfriends on our street, but she's sure giving the young children and teens on my block a great show. I am fed up, and even my wife now says to go ahead and do what I want. I think Greta needs help. I'm hoping he'll print my letter so she'll recognize herself and stop this before I call the police. Signed, Concerned in Oceanside, New York.
There's no way that Greta is going to read this letter. Because no person that writes into Dear Abby is actively having sex.
Yeah.
Nobody who reads Dear Abby on the regular is having sex. Because
you have like having so much sex that it's a problem for the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? It's like having so much sex so often in the street that it's causing concern among the neighbors. I don't see
like. Even where Dear Abby is on the, it's usually on the comics page. I will do everything on the comics page, even Sudoku, before I even look at that. That's like
yeah. I'm reading Family Circus. For sure. I'm doing that Jumble, all that shit. I got a lot of questions about this, not the least of which is, I thought Greta was a prostitute until I found out where she lives. As if you can't live by prostitutes gotta live somewhere. You think your neighborhood is so prostitute repellent that they can't live there? Come on.
I don't, they could, but here's my thing. I think this dude's a voyeur.
Yeah, he's clearly watching a lot. Yeah.
His wife's like, "What are you doing out there?" "Oh, I'm watching them partially disrobe." He's like, "What are you doing that for?" I'm gonna write Dear Abby about this. Yeah. This is this dude covering up for his voyeuristic intentions.
I feel weird. Yeah, I agree with you 100%. The writer of this letter has issues that need to be explored. I'm calling into question the reality of this situation. Now, partially what we do on this podcast is take everything as truth because we have to for the sake of the podcast.
Okay.
But here's my point. Do we see she's got teenage kids, but she's fucking on the street? That doesn't. It just seems like if you're that level of adult and you go get a hotel room or something.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just seems weird. It doesn't seem that realistic. I wonder if you're assuming that like he's talking about this partial disrobing. What does that even mean? How do you have binoculars that you're seeing this?
Yeah, that man is clearly. First off, that man is clearly just watching the streets.
Mm-hmm.
He has to be. We have to ask questions about the writer. Why is he watching? Why is he watching all of this and got all the details?
Also,
how come you're not watching TV, sir?
Yeah,
How come you're not hanging out with your wife, sir?
That's the question. When at work? Yeah, what's going on?
Like, why are you worried about your neighbor doing what she wants to do?
Also, I do like that the wife was like, even my wife now says to go ahead and do what I want. I promise you that is not the wife being like on his side now. That's just the wife being like, do whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Stop talking to me about these fucking
Exactly.
Things. Yeah. I'm sick of your shit.
He talks about it every day before he goes to sleep. There she go again. There she go again in the streets.
Because
spent $300 on binoculars this month. I'm sick of this.
Right, because it's not like every car is a fucking convertible. Like you have to work hard to see disrobing in like, I don't know, like a Ford Explorer. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's gotta have like a deer blind set up in the street. It's not even in his house anymore. Like he's out camouflage face paint and shit. Yeah, this guy's the issue.
Yeah, like I bet even he waits every day.
He has a
time that he waits every day. I look out the window, just looking away. You know what? You know what I think is really going on here?
Mm-hmm.
Is that he is secretly liking that shit, but his wife knows that he likes that shit. And so now he's trying to pretend like he's all outraged and shit. Like, oh,
yeah. No, 100%.
Why the hell is he doing?
I agree 100%. I think he got caught watching them, and now he has to he has to pretend. You know what I'm saying? Like, so his wife caught him, and he had to be like, "Oh no, I wasn't jerking off. Do you see how horrible this is?" And now he can't drop the act.
The cops.
Yeah.
There's like but that's what I was saying. Like he got caught, and then he's like, "I will tell dear Abby about this." You know, how we solve all of our real problems. How is it one of the kids going over and telling that the like kids of that mom? Like why aren't Greta's kids being told, "Oh, your mom's one street over getting fucked"?
Yeah, for sure. That's just gonna make it around the neighbor. Like, that gossip's gonna get around if this is happening like that.
I saw your mom today. She had more fingers in her than a high school dance.
No, 100%. Like, listen, I lived in a neighbor, like a small neighborhood growing up, and if any one of if anyone's mom was getting railed on the street, their name would be, we wouldn't change that kid's name to whatever that intersection was. You know what I'm saying? That's what you would be called.
I don't believe in this. I really don't believe it. It's just like putting a hoe in HOA. Like,
Yeah, and this bullshit of, I'm hoping you'll print my letter so she recognizes herself. No, you're not. If you really were concerned for this woman, you would go leave like, if you were like, hey, maybe she doesn't know people can see her or whatever, like, you would go leave an anonymous note on the porch and be like, hey, by the way, you might want to park a little further away. People can see what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? You would actually try to address it with her, as opposed to writing anonymously to the newspaper, thinking that, like, really, you think you're the only person in that city that fucks in a car? Like, that doesn't, like, that's not gonna get to her.
They're not like fucking in a car, and then like all of a sudden she's like, well, I'm done fucking in the car, I'm gonna go a block over, sit down in the kitchen, see what Marmaduke's up to. Oh my gosh, dear Abby.
Well, here's the thing. Now, we've also said fucking in the car a few times. We do need to be specific. That doesn't appear to be happening. If we read this man's description of the activity and call it and take it for what it is, says that they meet up, they then get, like, two cars pull up, they then get into one of said two cars, make out a little bit, pop a titty out, and drive away. That appears to be what's happening, which is even wilder than them possibly fucking in the car. Like, that's an even crazier move.
Who takes off their clothes to fuck in a car?
It's
Nobody.
weird. That's a shift some shit aside situation if I've ever heard one. Particularly if you're coming in knowing you're fucking in the car. Like, she's wearing a skirt. Like, you're coming in ready for that.
Right. I feel like if this guy confronted Greta and was like, Greta, I know you keep fucking these dudes in the car so people can watch, and I like to watch, so let's cut out the kids. You just do it in one window and I'll be in the bushes.
Yeah, my wife will watch your teenagers while you're doing what you're doing. We'll get the whole neighborhood in on this.
Yeah, this is...
Yeah, that guy needs to just go ahead and just talk to her. And then when he talks to her about how he feels about the situation, he goes and he have sex with her and just get it over with. Just get it over with, because that's what he really wants.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
Yeah, also maybe he's trying to get his wife in on the watching. Maybe that can, you know what I'm saying? Like, you guys share, but you take one side of the binoculars. I don't know. Just figure it out. Blow up your marriage technique.
It's also weird because of, like, okay, so there's all these cars showing up with different. Why didn't she go? How is she meeting these people? Is it like FetLife? Is this a Craigslist ad? Or you have is this like a Craigslist ad come around for this? It's like a car window glory hole, basically. I don't understand.
I think also we can think that possibly this happened twice, and this man is blowing this shit out of proportion. You know what I'm saying? Like, she met her boyfriend around the corner twice, and now it's a fucking problem because Tom Hanks from The Burbs over here has nothing going on and keeps having to watch The Neighborhood for entertainment. Pay your cable bill and get back to fucking leaving these people alone.
Important question. What's your ideal car to have sex in?
Yeah, I'm fat. Car sex don't work for me. I need a lot of space to move around. You're gonna have to get like a navigator at least. Put the back seat down. I need real space. One of them Aztecs that turn into like a tent. You know what I'm talking about?
Right.
Yeah.
Awesome. You made it sound like.
What's sorry, Christopher? What'd you say? I'm
claustrophobic, so I can't. There's not enough room to freak out. I'm like,
Okay, I'm not asking you. I'm saying all money in the world. You can
all
have
the money
any
in
car.
the world. Oh,
that's
what I'm
saying.
Need like. Oh, that's a good question. I
love that I pitched a question with no budget attached, and suddenly you're real frugal about it.
I was talking more about the size. Well, I'm putting it kind of like my own like past history, and it's just never worked out well for me. But let me think on that. I think ideal, if I had to pick one, Adam West Batmobile. Not the new Batmobile, because that's real tight. It's real, like, it's just like a cockpit. I need that Oldsmobile looking Adam West convertible Batmobile. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah, it's got the shields there.
Yeah.
It's got the little windshield, conical windshield. Yeah.
It's a good look.
That can catch anything that comes, up as well.
Let's go ahead and jump into a new letter. Dear Abby, my younger brother Mike and I are partners in a small manufacturing business. The problem is my brother's explosive temper. When an employee makes a mistake, Mike literally throws a tantrum, kicking things and cursing at the top of his lungs. This is never done in private. He screams and criticizes the employee in front of anybody who will listen. Since he's the boss, the employees just take it and silently curse him back. This makes for a miserable work atmosphere. I've repeatedly told Mike that his tantrums make him look foolish and his employees should not have to put up with his tirades. He apologizes, then loses his temper all over again. Unfortunately, I can't fire him or punch him in the nose, which is what he needs. I don't think he realizes that his behavior is cruel and insulting. How can I get through to him? Signed, Bothered Brother. You guys ever had the yelly boss?
Oh, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah? What was the kind of job? Where were you working? You don't have to say the name.
Edible arrangements.
That's so funny. You could not have picked a funnier business for that.
Yo, this man used to get, if I didn't cut the pineapples right, he'd be like, yo, what the fuck? Hey, come on, bro. Hey, this pineapple ain't shit. And I'm just like, hey, yo, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to get the little strands, because you know how pineapples got the little strands that come out when you cut. I'm sorry, I can't cut the strands off it. It was
so
just there.
funny. Do you think the the margins on an edible arrangement are that tight that you fuck up one pineapple, now he's not making the rent that month? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's that close?
At times, like, you know, during like the Mother's Day stuff and all that stuff, but like 9 times out of 10, he was fussing like at the end of the day, or not even at the end of the day. It was just like when we're not even working that hard. We're not even like, there's nobody coming in, and it's like not even like how fast I'm doing it, it's how it looks. That was pissing him off. And like, if I'm dipping a strawberry wrong, he'd be like, yo, man, it's too much strawberry, bro. You ain't even doing you ain't squeezing the fucking, he just cussed me the fuck out every time over the little shit.
Andy, how about you? What's your terrible boss experience?
The one boss didn't work here. There's this guy who used to work here who was. It's weird doing this because I'm like still at work, but I'll talk about the manager who doesn't work here anymore. He would get upset at the weirdest things, and a lot of times it would just be me. Like, it was always just stuff we were talking about, or you know what he would always do is like something specific would happen that was so specific, and then he would pretend like it had happened all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, it would be something that set him off. It's like, it would be like, if I told you once, I've told you 1,000 times, no tomatoes on top of the Post-it notes near my desk. It was always.
There's no way you've told me that even once. That's not a thing that happens.
This hasn't happened enough time. My favorite outburst from him wasn't like entirely work related. And I will say, this is part of a joke that I'm writing, so I'm just letting you know. But it was around the time that Game of Thrones had like done that press conference where they're like, we listen to what you have to say, and we're gonna limit the amount of abuse and assault of women in this next season of Game of Thrones. And I had laughed because they had a press conference in the first place and they couldn't just like do it. But also, like, it was like 5 seasons in. There's like so much. And I was laughing, and then he overheard me and he slammed the desk and he was like, that's how it was back then.
Back then? In the fictional times of Game of Thrones? You know, that's not historical record, motherfucker. That's so funny.
Back when winter would ravage the entire world.
Yeah. Back in dragon times. Yeah, that's hilarious. I don't know that I've ever had the yelly boss at me because, for whatever reason, people don't know that I'm like at least half bitch. So people look at me and I'm like not a small dude. So bosses would rarely like, they don't, it takes a specific type of person to sort of buck up like that. You know what I mean? And that's rarely a boss, but I've been in the business where we knew there was that boss. Like I've had that boss that just wouldn't take it out on me. So I would often just sort of like try to be a shield. You know what I'm saying? So like if I saw the boss about to blow his top, I would step in and be like, what? You wanna discuss this? Like just try to be an ally if I could. But so let's take a look at this particular letter and say that this dude, Mike, like you're going to have to buy him out or something because he's going to end up costing you in lawsuits more than, you know what I'm saying, than he's possibly bringing to this table.
I also love the use of the word manufacturing. I love that everybody who writes into Dear Abby sounds like they're from the Midwest.
Yeah, I feel from the Midwest in the past. America doesn't have a manufacturing base anymore. What do you make? You mean you put shit in boxes? Is that what you're telling us? You resell some shit from Canada or from China in a new package? That's what you do?
Manufacturing? That's like the word entrepreneur. Nobody uses the word.
Yeah.
Really. Nobody uses that word. People put it in books, but nobody uses those. Nobody uses those words. I don't know. Buy him out is a good. That's a good.
Like if you're the other boss, like the other brother, you got to buy him out, or like I think you got to hire a new person. Tell them that their job is to wait till this person yells at them and then punch them in the face. And then you can fire him. This is like you're bringing him in for this specific reason or whatever. But like somebody's got to put this dude in check. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Also, I mean, he is your brother.
Right.
So you probably punched him in the face before.
Yeah. You could for
So
sure. If anybody could get away with it.
What's stopping you again? Because y'all got money involved. Like, just punch him in the face. Nigga, I told you to stop cussing at the employees. They getting mad. They about to quit. Punch, and then go on with your day.
Yeah, if you keep being angry at my employees, I'm gonna charge you double at Christmas.
Yeah. It's the same family for sure.
It's the same family.
This is the real Uncle Joe for sure. That's very funny. I think we got time for one more letter, then we can go ahead and wrap this up. Or maybe two. We'll see what happens. We'll do one more here, and then we'll come back. Let's try this one on for size. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? Oh, here we go. Yeah, I like this one. Dear Abby, I'm an 84-year-old woman who would like to play the devil's advocate. But in this case, I would like to know who the devil is. An officer of the law, whose job it is to reprimand anyone who is breaking the law, must drive 80 to 100 miles per hour on a freeway, chasing someone who is endangering the lives of everyone on the freeway, including himself. Abby, how can we expect a police officer, who doesn't know whether he will go home to his wife and kids that night, to drive at breakneck speeds for an hour or more, and keep his composure when he finally catches up with the criminal? If he's human, he will lash out at the culprit. Then it seems to me, everyone's appalled at the behavior of the police officer, instead of the one who is breaking the law. 10 to 1, the criminal is high on something, and though the marks on him are visible, I'll bet he didn't feel the blows as much as the high he was getting on the substance, which gave him the courage to drive that fast. What say you, Abby? Signed, Eleanor from Brooklyn.
Oh my God, I knew it. I knew it.
You had to know it was an Eleanor. That's a very Eleanor thing to say.
That's a very Eleanor white kind of thing to say.
I feel like you don't have to say 84-year-old. You're writing into Dear Abby.
Yeah. You're writing into Dear Abby, and you're ending it with, what say you, Abby? So you are either 84 years old, or you're like a Ren Fair nerd. You know what I'm saying? You're one of those two. A lot of overlap. Eleanor is making a lot of assumptions about what's going on here. I think, so here's what I think, like, obviously Eleanor can go fuck herself, right? ACAB. But here's my questions about Eleanor. Does she have a kid that's a cop that threw hands on somebody? Do you know what I'm saying? This feels too specific and personal.
What is she gonna do? Call the cops on him? The bigger cops?
You know what I'm saying, though? This very specific situation. You get on a high-speed chase for over an hour, which is not how high-speed chases work unless you're
Simpson.
Like,
that's not some New York shit. That's some, like, West Coast shit. You've got highways.
Yeah. Very true.
I've been
Brooklyn, you can't be in an 80-mile-an-hour chase in Brooklyn. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, the only high speed chase happening in Brooklyn is from one end of a subway car to the other end of a subway car.
Yeah. Do you think her husband's a cop? There's just two. This all feels like a specific incident.
I think that she is trying to have a conversation about policing in America, but she's also just using a very specific idea about something to kind of push her narrative. Because it seems very super pro-copy to me.
Well, it's very pro-copy, right? The whole idea is, if a cop catches someone breaking the law, they should be allowed to beat them up. That's literally what she's saying, which is like a wild thing to say. Particularly when, like, here's the thing. A lot of the racists will at least try to cover and be like, oh, well, they didn't do it, or this person resisted, or whatever. There's none of that here, right? She's literally saying, if this person has to chase you, they should be allowed to beat you when they catch you.
Beat you up when they catch you.
That's all they're saying. That's all she's saying.
They should be allowed to put you in a pit maneuver and flip your car over at any time.
Which is also almost a little more respectable, because at least she's just being for real with her opinions, as opposed to couching it and hiding it in some sort of, like, you know what I'm saying?
I feel like there's still even a little bit more of a a little bit of hiding and couching a little bit, because of the whole idea of they're hiding on something or they're on something.
Yeah. They're putting a lot
if the marking is visible, what does that mean?
What are you saying, Andy?
Well, I worked in drug education for a long time, and she's hinting at the driver being high on PCP. Now, PCP doesn't happen that often, and oftentimes that's usually not people getting into a car. That's them getting out of the car and fighting people.
Yeah, for sure.
The emboldened by drugs thing is so ridiculous. People always say they saw somebody high on PCP. I've been doing drugs for a long time. Still haven't seen PCP.
I've been around drugs a long time. Less so now, but I spent a good amount of time around a good amount of drugs. PCP was never one of them. That's just maybe once you saw somebody with a dip cigarette, but it was very random.
But I will say that what's the year on this letter? If it's 80s Brooklyn, that's a possibility.
Yeah. It's not.
Yeah, because that's I feel like the fifth pillar of golden era hip hop is PCP.
A fair amount of angel dust. That's very true. I think Eleanor should straight up go fuck herself. I literally don't have advice for you other than to turn off OAN and maybe read a book like this. But also, she's 84. This is where we gotta have the uncomfortable conversation of you don't super really need to try to educate your grandparents. You just gotta wait for them to die. That 84-year-old woman ain't changing her fucking. You ain't gonna suddenly make her a leftist. She's 84 fucking years old. It's over.
She was part of the problem with back in the day.
Yeah, exactly.
When we tell people to educate themselves, we're talking about you. we're talking about the 84-year-old woman. So it's of course she's gonna have this idea of people getting beat up by the cops, and I'm pretty sure if she didn't want to make herself look bad, she would have probably said, if they're black, beat them up.
Yeah, here's the thing. What we realize doing this podcast a lot is that people always write in to make themselves look as good as possible. People don't write in and be like, yo, I fucked up or whatever. It's very much here's how I've been wronged or how I'm the victim or whatever, right? But what's interesting here is you don't get a lot of strictly hypothetical situations as far as these letters are concerned. As a rule, people are writing about things that happen to them. But also, she doesn't, a lot of times when white people write into this, to Dear Abby about race, they will say I marched with Martin Luther King in the 60s or whatever. You know what I'm saying? They do that kind of horse shit. Ain't none of that in this letter, right? It is straight up. She's like, hear me out. Fuck. I stand with the cops and fuck black people. It's just, there's no, hiding it, which is interesting.
She's also, she says at the top of the letter that she's devil's advocating.
Yeah.
So for her to be pro-police is her being pro-devil.
Yeah. Very true.
Yeah, she's
very true. Also, yeah, I don't know that she knows what devil's advocate means. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's
you work for the devil.
Every one of these letters, I've listening to your episodes, and every one of these letters, instead of Dear Abby, instead of it's like Girls Gone Wild, but instead of Girls Gone Wild, it's old white women go mildly upset.
Very true. Guys, I think this is a good place to end the podcast this week. Andy, what do you got to plug? Anything people can find you on the internet?
I'm every Saturday and Sunday. I'm on Twitch 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific playing house music and drum and bass and shit. And I'll be in Denver in July. I'll be in Austin in August.
Definitely
Hey.
check that out. That's tight. Christopher Hills, where can people find you online? What you got going on?
You can find me on Instagram at Chris_Hills24. I don't have much going on. I think I'm doing Drunk Spelling Bee
Nice.
at Spider House. I don't know what day that is. It's 26 or something.
You can find it on the internet. That's
Yeah, you
easy
can
to
find it on the
find.
internet, and y'all come check that out. That's a fun show. And yeah, that's it.
I am at Chris Cubis on all social media. Check my social media for upcoming shows. I think I have a show on the 30th this week that I'm not remembering where, or next week that I'm not remembering where that is, but it's coming up. Got a bunch of shows coming up in June, so keep an eye out for those. If you like the show, rate, review, give us a little 5-star rating, give us a little review on Apple Podcasts. It super helps us, and we'll be back next week with more bad advice.